Webinars are a great tool for growing your email list and selling products. And while you don't need to be a sales pro to get results, there are some techniques that can make selling a lot easier and more effective. In this video, we'll cover 5 of the top techniques pros use to get great results and make more sales. Let's get into it. Hello creators, I'm Ben Tolson from Podia, where we empower creators like you to make a living doing what you love. Whether you've done dozens of webinars or you're just starting out, the techniques we'll share in this video can help you get better results and are also easy to build into your webinars, whatever your comfort level with selling. I encourage you, as we go through this list, to think about where and how you'll implement these techniques in your webinar. Let's dive in. Technique number 1. Share testimonials. Testimonials are so powerful because they're a form of social proof. According to research done by Nielsen, 70% of people will trust a recommendation from someone they don't even know. So where and how should you include testimonials in your webinar? Choose 3 of your best testimonials, and if you can, make sure each one is from a unique perspective. For example, if you sell a course about how to build a website, you might have one testimonial from a small business owner, one from a musician, and one from a nonprofit organization. Having a variety of perspectives is important because your webinar attendees will come from a variety of perspectives, and this increases the chances that they'll be able to see themselves in someone else's testimonial. Now, rather than share all of these testimonials at one time, you're going to use one in the beginning, one near the middle, and then the most powerful one near the end. Using testimonials in this way allows the stories to build on one another throughout the course of your webinar and makes the cumulative effect of the testimonials more powerful than if you shared them all at once. So to summarize, choose 3 testimonials from unique perspectives and share one at the beginning, one in the middle, and the most powerful one at the end of your webinar presentation. Technique number 2, get them to say yes. This sales technique is all about getting your attendees to say yes, but not to buying your product, at least not yet. As human beings, we're wired to follow through with our commitments. In Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, he describes a principle called commitment and consistency. He says, this principle is about our desire to be and to appear consistent with what we have already done. Once we have made a choice or taken a stand, we will encounter personal and interpersonal pressures to behave consistently with that commitment. Those pressures will cause us to respond in ways that justify our earlier decision. In a nutshell, once we've made a commitment, we're more likely to make decisions that continue to support that commitment. This means if you can get your attendees to commit to an outcome your product provides, they're more likely to decide to buy it when the time comes. For example, if you sell an online course that helps people be more organized and productive, getting them to say they'll commit to being more organized and productive will make them more likely to buy your course. So let's talk about how to use this technique practically. As you're starting your webinar, you want to get people to make a macro commitment. This is centered around the main result your product provides. So with our previous example, you might say something like, my goal for this webinar is for you to have the basic tools you'll need to be more organized and productive. But in order for that to happen, you also have to want it. If you're committed to doing what it takes to get organized and productive, type yes in the chat. Throughout the rest of your webinar, take opportunities to get micro commitments. These could look something like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much easier would it be for you to get things done if your tasks were organized? Or raise your hand if you struggle to get motivated. Or tell me in the chat how you'll reward yourself after finishing your next project. Sprinkle these throughout your webinar, and I'm talking dozens of times. It may seem like overkill, but the more you can get people to say yes, the more natural it'll feel for them to say yes to your product. Technique number 3, use urgency. Urgency is an important tool for helping people get out of their own way when it comes to making a purchase. Some percentage of your attendees will have intentions of making a purchase, but say they'd feel more comfortable waiting and making their purchase once they've had time to think. The problem is, the longer a person waits to make a commitment, the less likely they are to follow through. If your product really would make life better for your attendee and they're in a position to make an investment that would bring them results, it's in their best interest to take action as soon as possible so you and they don't miss out on that window of opportunity. An example of urgency could be something like, I normally charge $449 for this course, but purchase within the next 48 hours and it's only $299. Now this next part is important. You want to use words and phrases that make the idea of waiting and missing out on this offer more uncomfortable than making the purchase. So you could say things like, I don't want you to miss out, or I don't want you to regret, or I'd hate for you not to have that extra $150 in your pocket. Humans are more motivated by avoiding pain and discomfort than we are by rewards. The power of this technique is that it combines avoidance and rewards to make your attendee even more motivated to buy your product. Technique number 4, offer an objection bonus. This technique directly addresses what I just shared about avoidance. Any objection your attendee might have to buying your product is, at its core, some form of pain or discomfort avoidance. This could be the discomfort of risk, it could be the pain of not knowing where to begin, or the fear of not having enough time to actually use your product. Objections create a tug of war between the reasons your attendee should buy and the reasons holding them back. An objection bonus offers a reward that directly addresses the objection. For example, let's go back to the online course for how to build a website. Maybe there are some basic things your customer would need to do or understand before working through your course material. Your objection bonus could be a getting started checklist to help bridge the gap between what they know and what you teach and get them started on the right foot. Or if the objection has to do with not having enough time, maybe offer a PDF guide on how to make more time for your side project. This bonus doesn't have to be anything super fancy, it just has to address and satisfy a common objection you see from potential customers. With this technique, your attendees are no longer trying to avoid whatever pain or discomfort that objection causes, putting more muscle on your side of the tug of war. Technique number 5, make a guarantee. The biggest hurdle you'll have to overcome is your attendees' discomfort with or fear of risk. Anytime we buy something, we're taking on some amount of risk. Even if I go to a restaurant and purchase a meal I've had dozens of times, there's always a risk that it'll be missing some key ingredient or it'll come out lukewarm. But I'm willing to take that risk because I really love the Elvis Presley fried chicken plate at Chuy's. Order some extra flour tortillas on the side. The point is, it's important to acknowledge that there's risk involved in buying your product. So what if you could reduce that risk or remove it altogether? A guarantee typically says that you believe so much in your product, you're willing to guarantee results, and that if the customer isn't satisfied or doesn't get the results you promise, they can get some or all of their investment back. This does 2 things in the mind of the customer. First, it can reduce or take away any avoidance they feel because of the risk. But secondly, and more importantly, it shows your customer that you're confident in your product and you believe it can get them results. If you believe it, they can believe it too. Guarantees can come in many different shapes and sizes, from no questions asked money back guarantee for the life of your product to 50% of your money back within 14 days. You'll have to decide which version of a guarantee works best for your product, and don't be afraid to experiment with different versions to find the one that's most effective for you. And that's it. A note to those of you who are just starting out. These techniques may feel a bit out of your comfort zone, and that's okay. In the beginning, it may be easiest just to write out a script and even include what's in the script on your webinar slides. Over time and with practice, these techniques will feel more natural. Which of these sales techniques will you use for your webinar? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful and you want more content like this, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you'll be sure not to miss any future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.